Hi guys, welcome to the Richie J Show. My name's Richie Gerrans. I'm here with my friend Sheyla Bias today. We are going to be talking about entertainment news. We're going to discuss Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Jennifer and Ben Affleck,
Yes.
Courtney and Travis. We're going to talk about it all. Sheyla, how are you feeling
Hi
today?
guys, I'm Sheyla. I'm great.
Are you feeling unreserved?
Always unreserved, as Richie says unreserved because I do have a little podcast episode. See, I was just gonna mention the fact that our intro, well, not our intro, the intro to your show was so great. I love the little tunes which you just heard. It's this is your first show, so I'm pretty sure the nerves are there. But that
Correct.
little dun, 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 just kind
Was
of
feeling it.
Right, makes you ease the nerves. But anyways, I'm super excited to be here.
Yes. So let's get into it. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Erica Jane. First, let's watch our first clip.
That there was liability when you left him. Did you feel that the ship was sinking and you were about to go down with it and you had to get out at that time?
I
Do we need
felt
to
like
start
he
over?
was sinking, not necessarily the ship. There was no talking to this person, trying to get him to answer my questions, being shut out completely. Anger, personality changes. And you can see now, look, the man is in a home. He's in a memory care facility. We've all seen the pictures of him with a black eye.
Right.
We've seen how disheveled and how absolutely horrible he has deteriorated since I left in November. So what I have been saying is true. It's not unusual in Tom's business for him to be sued. But when Erica Girardi started ending up on lawsuits, that's when my ears were pricked.
Dun dun dun.
Literally, dun dun dun. What are your thoughts first?
So I do have to disclose that I am not a Real House of, not even Beverly Hills, a Real House in general type of viewer. I do not watch the show religiously. But because I care about my friends so much, I did try to catch up in a few episodes. And from what I know, I do think that she knows something is going on, or like she knew something was going on with her husband because, come on, if you're living with someone, regardless of if he was traveling a majority of the time, women are very nosy and they will try to dig up some stuff. Like if I feel like my significant other is acting a little different, we're going to do some digging, right? So I definitely feel like she knew something. And now that her name is being dragged into the situation, she kind of like realized like I need to get out of this.
And let me just say, what is happening is that her husband is being accused of, he's a lawyer and he's being accused of stealing money that belonged to clients of his, like orphans, widows that were in like a tragic aircraft incident, and now they want their money, and she's gonna get in trouble for it as well if he is accused.
Well, she's saying she was not aware that
Officially.
any of this thing was happening. It hasn't been proven, but she is saying that all of these alleged claims she was not aware of.
Yeah. Do I believe she wasn't fully aware? Not really, just because she filed for divorce from him right before these allegations came about. So I feel like in that sense, I'm kind of seeing why people would think that she's lying.
Right.
Um,
Another point that I want to bring up is in that reunion, Angie was like, well, why didn't you leave, right? Like, this goes back to the idea that I think she had some strong sense that something was going on. And as a woman, I'm like, something iffy is going on, so let me just get out. She told Andy that she was giving her check that she was making from being on the show to him, which is already like concerning. Like, why are you giving this man your money? She says he managed.
well, because it's their money anyway, because they're a couple. I mean,
well, that opens up a whole other door. We have my money, your money, and our like husband, like our relationship.
I
money.
think being that she makes so much less than him,
right.
she feels it's probably the least she can do is hand her checks over to him. He can manage the money. He's supposed to be good at that since he's a lawyer and deals with a lot of money all the time.
That has nothing to do with it. Clearly, I mean, these are alleged claims, but like
Yes.
me personally, I would not give my whole paycheck, which I'm not saying she's doing hard labor to earn this. Like she's getting paid
She's
to
being
literally live her
herself.
life.
Yeah.
Right. It's not hard labor, but at the end of the day, I'm not giving my money to anyone. because it's my money, regardless of its pennies compared to what you're making.
I mean, but then that's like saying he shouldn't give her money.
Yeah, but it's I don't want to say it's different, but like that's what I don't want to say that's what he is. That sounds very bad. But like they got into that relationship like knowing that he was making money. Like,
yeah. I think this comes down to like not a man versus woman conversation, but I feel like that's where there's like
I don't know.
An uncertainty between the money factor.
Yeah, I mean, the point, that's not even the moral of the story. It's fine, whatever. You want to give your husband your money, that's fine. It's your life, your relationship. But the main thing that we're questioning is, did she know this was happening? She claims she had no idea. Like, she's very, but then also the people that she's around, the other girls are like,
But then she's saying that the husband had flipped his car over 5 times and sprained his ankle or broke his ankle, and all these crazy stories that she's bringing up as if they're factual. And then later in the season, she's repeating these stories, but saying allegedly at the end. So is it true? Is it not true? Like, you talked about it like you were there and you witnessed it, and now you're saying allegedly.
Well, the whole time she's always tried to say like the relationship was great, and there was never any concern about her relationship until this came out.
Exactly.
And then it was like, oh, well, actually he was doing this. He was treating me like this.
He's
like,
been cheating on me for years.
So then why didn't, again, everyone reacts differently to things. Some people just want to be closed off. Others are more like talking about it. But like, if these are your friends, right? Your friends, not even to one of them, you felt like you could talk to them about
They
this?
also didn't really believe her when she did talk about it. I mean, as we saw it play out on the season, they don't really believe her because, I mean, again, she's saying a story and then repeating it as if it's possibly not true, allegedly.
Yeah, but it was confirmed that her husband or ex or whatever we want to call him is also like has dementia. So maybe he was telling her these things, but he has dementia.
Correct. So allegedly, in his mind.
Right, it did happen. And who is she to tell him, oh, well, actually, that did not happen? If she wasn't there, she doesn't know.
But she claims she was at the hospital after and called shots on what the doctor should or shouldn't do with him because of his concussion, allegedly.
There's a lot of allegedly.
It's a mess. Allegedly, it's a mess.
When all of this is resolved, the curtains will open and we will see who was lying and who was not.
Only time will tell. It'll probably take a long time, too, before we find any of this out. Anyway, moving on. Sticking to Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Garcelle made a pretty a pretty harsh
big
accusation towards Lisa Rinna. Let's watch the clip.
The second clip.
Someone told me that you said that I should have never brought race into this show, that this show is not that kind of show.
Okay, so that's a heavy accusation.
Of course.
First off, when it comes to like accusing people of doing things, I personally don't make accusations towards anyone unless I know it is a fact. I have to have proof so I can just rip them a new one, accuse them of what I'm accusing them of, and give them no room to back out from it. I don't believe Lisa said this just because I feel like she is the most open housewife, really, out of all of the franchises. She is so open to, like, hearing people out, learning new things. I can't picture her saying that. What are your feelings?
Well, again, like I said, I am not an avid watcher of the Real Housewives, but I do think it rubbed me the wrong way, the fact that she decided to bring this up during the reunion, right? Like, this was never a topic that she brought up during the show, right? Like, if you felt like throughout the show, Lisa tried to do things to be her friend, right? Because their friendship was broken. She was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to throw you a birthday party. I'm going to give you some sauce.
Yeah.
And clearly none of that was working because behind, like, you know, Garcelle, right? Like, that's how you pronounce the name. Garcelle was keeping this inside.
Exactly.
She knew this was the reason why anything that Lisa tried to do, she was not with it.
She wasn't feeling it was genuine because she had this accusation
this
in
bombshell.
her mind from people who she didn't say who because...
Right, which again, I mean...
Yeah.
It's understandable why she doesn't want to say who said it, but it's more of like, if this was the reason why anything I try to do with you or to you, you were like, nope.
And if you
just
truly believe it, then the first thing you should think of is bringing it up before you have her drop sauce off at your house
Yeah,
as like a
yeah.
kind
Like I don't
gesture.
even want your sauce if you try.
I
like,
want to
if you're saying
know
this
A,
about
B,
me.
and C. Like what is going on? What are you saying about me? To who?
Right.
Why? Like this is tough times that we're going through right now in more than one aspect.
Right.
Like lay
So
it out.
what I was also gonna say is the fact that like we're in America, right? Like let's say here's the devil's advocate. If she did say it, honey, please get it together because we're in America. Race is something that we need to talk about, right? And
Period.
because for so long we never spoke about race, we are where we are. Like people, there's so many like controversial things of like, oh, should we teach critical race theory? Like there's just so much going on there that like if in fact she did say it, which we do not know, right?
That's the last.
She says she does deny. She said, I never said that. Why would I say that? Whatever. But if she did, to me, as someone that does not watch this, because again, I would never be able to relate to half of the things that they do. I don't have enough money to even move out, right? But you're over here buying houses and living lavish. Like, I'm not watching that because I cannot relate. And race is something you need to talk about. Like, a majority of these housewives are white, privileged, and are able to afford these things. So if anything, she's bringing a different element to the show so a new audience can go ahead and be entertained and want to watch
And
the
it's
show.
worked out perfectly. Everybody loves her. Her and Sutton are like the top two of this season. I mean, one thing Garcelle said that really stuck with me in regards to race was when she was sitting down at the table with everyone for dinner, and she was talking in general to everyone, but she said, like, do you guys see color? Kathy Hilton said no, and she goes, well, then you don't see me.
Yeah.
And that might educate so many people who have no idea.
That might think that the fact that I don't see race, that means it's a good thing.
Exactly. Like while it was no harm on Kathy's part, like she didn't mean any harm by it, but she didn't know. Now she knows, and she's totally
and now the viewers that are watching are aware as well.
Exactly.
Like, you need to see color.
I mean, that opened up my eyes a little, I will say. Like, hearing her say, well, then you don't see me. Like, those words stuck. Like, no, you need to see color.
Right.
Like, this is how, like, the world
this
needs
is
to
how
work.
life is,
like,
sweetie.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Welcome. And again, maybe she was like very genuine about it. And even in the reunion, she said like, I'm glad you said that.
Exactly.
Because I was able to learn something.
She was appreciative of learning.
Exactly.
I mean, this is Kathy Hilton. We love her too. She's actually the star of this season.
I am not aware of who she is, but
okay,
shout
well,
out to her.
Kathy Hilton is Paris Hilton's mom.
Yeah.
Like, you know that far.
No, I do know. But again, this all goes back to the fact of like why race matters, why color matter. Because I was raised in, like, Paris Hilton was not like who I was like looking
idolizing.
Up to. Yeah.
I mean, we were also young when she was at her prime, I feel.
I mean, again, but because I'm Latina, like, that's just, like, talk to me about Romeo Santos, Aventura. Like, that's what I grew up on, not Paris Hilton. No shade to her.
I grew up on a little bit of both, I guess.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. You had the best of both worlds.
Literally. I guess it's in my ethnicity as well, Spanish and Italian.
We love it.
So, to close off the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills chapter, I wanted us to come up with our own taglines and share them with you guys. So, Sheyla, you can say yours first to the camera.
Okay, you guys. This is my, like, Real House of Beverly Hills moment. I don't beat around the bush. So if you're trying to talk to me, come direct. How do we feel?
Okay, well, mine is going to be, it's not talking crap when you're speaking facts.
Anyways, we are definitely not a part of the Real Housewives, but if we ever were, there you go.
So we're closing that chapter.
Right.
Moving on to Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck.
Dun, dun, dun.
How do we feel about this couple? I mean, personally, I feel like this is like a nostalgic moment for them, like repeating history 20 years or whatever years later. And I feel like they probably feel a certain youthness, which is why it feels right. And they're just like, they're definitely into each other currently. Don't think it's going to last necessarily. I feel like it's more of just a moment for them.
Yeah, for me, it was like, first of all, I don't care. Feel all you want to feel, right? Like, you have the right. Like, she's her own woman. She can date, whatever she wants to do. For me, the problem was her kids, right? Like, she made this so public. She was engaged. Like, she would invite A-Rod's kids to go to events and shows and whatever. And clearly, from what you could see from social media, which could be very deceiving, it seemed like even the kids were, like, involved in the relationship, right? So the kids are not like 5-year-olds. They are using social media. They see what people are saying. And people were not saying nice things about Sheyla when these rumors came out. So I'm pretty sure her daughter and her son were aware of the comments that were being made. And I just, again, everyone can do what they want to do, but I feel like at least she should have tried to like keep it on the low for a few months.
Yeah.
And then been like, okay, I'm out here with my new man.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to A-Rod, I feel like he dug his grave. I mean, he was
But we don't know.
Caught. Well, we do
I didn't
kind
see
of know.
anything.
So he was accused of DMing another reality star, and this particular reality star is on a Bravo show called Southern Charm, and she said on the show that there was a baseball player in her DMs. Didn't name him, but didn't name drop, I should say. But allegedly, it was A-Rod, and it was while he was still with J-Lo. I mean, he's known to be a cheater, allegedly. Does he cheat? Probably. I mean, he probably feels
Yeah, but I
like
just
he's
feel like...
hot stuff. I don't know.
But I feel like that, I don't want to say that has nothing to do with it. I never said, like, oh, stay with A-Rod. No, like, if he was cheating and, in fact, he was DMing other girls, girl, go ahead. You did what you did. Get out of that relationship. But I just feel like, first of all, how did they reconnect so quickly? Like, was he just on, like, speed dial?
Were they already
was like,
friends,
hey?
maybe?
Or were they already talking and it was just more of like, oh, hey, now's your time to shine?
They could have been talking as friends. I mean, they were a couple so many years ago. I mean, I don't necessarily... No, I see what you're saying, but I also, like, benefit of the doubt.
But you don't want to give A-Rod the benefit of the doubt.
No, I do.
Okay.
I give him the benefit of the doubt. I said allegedly. I don't know that he cheated or DM'd or whatever,
Okay.
but I do think... I mean, if she's not happy, she needs to move on. Did she move on too quick, like you said? Probably, because you had this whole family dynamic. You bought a house with A-Rod in Bel Air, like, had this beautiful family... And then all of a sudden just torn it apart, like completely divided it back in half.
And also when you're broken, you do like crazy things. Like maybe for right now, it might seem like this is the right thing to do. But like if you love this man so much, you were even engaged to him, about to get married.
Yeah.
And because of COVID, I feel like they had to like, the wedding couldn't happen. How can all of a sudden in a month or two, you're just completely over this man?
And we're seeing you all over headlines.
Come on. Like that just
your
doesn't sit right with me.
Old ex, yeah.
Yeah. Which again, maybe he was in fact like that. Like she knew that she really cared for Ben Affleck, but was just like, oh, like this can never happen again. But I just felt like it should have been kept on the DL for a little bit. Yeah. And then maybe...
And they could keep it
4
on the DL.
4 months in, be like, oh, I have this new man. And that's it.
No.
Just keep it private.
I agree. And I do see, though, that they seem like to have... Like, they have a good dynamic.
I don't know if they do.
I mean, this is just pictures on Instagram for me, but...
Which are very fake and deceiving, but
correct.
Okay.
But so far, it seems okay. Will it last? Only time will tell.
Right.
I mean, really,
we say that on
it comes
every
down
story.
to, yeah, I guess so, because everything is about time. Moving on, anyway, to another couple. Kourtney Kardashian, Travis Barker, engaged.
Or Baker.
On the beach in Montecito, California.
Look at that. So beautiful.
How do we feel?
I know that Scott Disick is very upset about this.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But I'm happy for her. I feel like she had been, I mean, at least not publicly dating anyone for a long, long, long time. She was always like the perfect.
Nothing major, yeah.
Right. Like it was never anything like that was public, official, Instagram official at least. So I'm happy for her. I hope for the best. And I didn't know that Travis has had previous marriages. So I hope that this doesn't become
2 marriages prior.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I'm happy for her.
Kourtney wasn't ever married, but she was with Scott for a long time. Had 3 kids with him, so it's just like a marriage. I mean, I don't feel like a marriage, like him.
You're
being
not a
married,
title person. Oh
no.
my god.
I think him being married 2 times doesn't really mean much. He
What?
could have, because what if he never married them and they were just girlfriends that he had kids with? Would you care at the same amount?
Well, I think being officially married, like, it makes a difference than, like, oh, that was just my girlfriend.
I think having a child with someone is more of an
yeah.
official thing than being married.
I
and
guess.
Obviously, we all know people don't need to be married to have children.
Of course. No. I mean...
Kourtney has 3.
I was just about to say,
Scott.
she's the perfect example of that. But what I'm trying to say is that I'm happy for her. I wish her the best. But I do think if they do in fact go ahead with this marriage, this could very much be just a honeymoon stage. When you first start dating someone, you feel like, oh my God, I love them so much. I want to be with them 24/8. So I think they should stay engaged for a little longer, make sure they hit some bumps in the road, and make sure that they actually do care about each other before they go ahead and get married.
And
but I wish
might.
her the best of luck.
They might be waiting.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know that they're planning a wedding just because
Tomorrow.
they're engaged. Yeah. We don't know. We probably won't know until it's actually happening.
Right.
Hopefully, because
Or after it
they'll have
happens,
an
because
issue.
this was all filmed, and although their reality show was canceled on E, now they have like
a Hulu series.
Yes. The whole marriage will be shown on
Which will
Hulu.
definitely probably give us a different aspect to who they are, because I feel like cable television's much more censored
Yeah.
than like the internet
Yeah.
and a subscription
I mean, streaming
show.
platforms
Yeah,
open
streaming.
a door for more flexibility, timing, but we'll see.
Yeah, time will tell.
Again, that's the theme of the show. Time will tell.
Yeah, that's our tagline today. Maybe
Love
that
that.
should have been our housewife tagline. Only time will tell.
Right.
Sticking to engagements and going back to Real Housewives, but this time of New Jersey, Teresa, not too far from your neck of the woods, just got engaged to her now fiance Louis. Soon after they moved to their new Montville mansion, and she left her old home to be that she, her children grew up in with her now ex-husband, who's deported to Italy. That's, we all,
Again,
another story.
Congratulations to her. I wish her the best of luck
Very sweet.
With her fiance now.
And considering People was there for the engagement, I'm sure we will see this on the next season of Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Which I do not watch, although I am from New Jersey.
Yeah.
Just have to say that. No shade, but I'm just not a Real Housewives
Well,
type
you
of
should
person.
be, because
because
you don't know what you're missing.
No,
No.
Watching that would just make me mad, because it's like, this is very controversial, but I just feel like I can't relate. Like, I still struggle to
say
make
this.
I struggle to make money. I am a minority. Me watching that I would literally be writing notes about how privileged they are.
But you know what?
And some of them do work hard and have their own money, and
Definitely.
I do know that.
And there are minorities on some of these shows.
Yeah, but
No.
I feel like they don't get enough credit.
I think you saying you can't relate, I think is why people watch the show.
No.
I can't relate to being, not that wealthy and where I could just do whatever I want. I have all this money. I live in this big, beautiful home. It's an escape. It's like you get to see what the other half lives like.
I guess we're just two different types of people. Like, I feel like our world has so many crazy stuff already going on that, again, some people prefer to watch that to have an escape.
Yes.
But for me, I'm such a, realist person, unreserved, that talk to me about real stuff. Like, maybe if they do charity events or doing something to,
Which
I don't
they
know,
do.
maybe they are.
They do. You don't know because you don't watch. You have to give it a shot.
No, that's just.
Ugh,
let's
come
talk
on,
about
Sheyla.
your favorite talk show.
Well, yeah, moving on. I'm not gonna say time will tell. Although time will tell if they make it.
Right.
Wendy Williams. So Wendy Williams has been out
How you
sick.
doing? I
Yeah,
feel
how
like you
you
gotta
doing?
do that. Hello.
How you doing? She has an autoimmune disease that, she's seeking help for. It's been getting bad. When COVID hit, her show went virtual. Personally, I feel like the show was not the same when she was working from home. Her audience, I feel like she is dependent on her audience, and that's why she calls them her co-hosts.
Right.
Which makes sense. She asks audiences' opinions. They have segments dedicated to audiences answering questions or asking questions to her for her to answer.
Right.
And now, currently, her show is being co-hosted. She has guest hosts, I should say.
Yeah.
Leah Remini was her guest host this past week. She's going to have a different guest for the next few weeks. Each week, she's going to change it up until she's better. So I don't know if she necessarily has a whole schedule planned out or not.
But I think it's also important to say she was supposed to come back, right? And then she tested positive for COVID, right? So at first the whole deal was she has COVID, she cannot come back.
Why, yeah.
And they gave October 4th or something. They gave a date. They had to push it back. And then that date came around and they were like, oh, well, now it's not anything COVID related. It's just the medical problems that she does have right now. She's trying to work on that to get better.
Yes.
So not COVID related, is because of prior health concerns that she's had before, that I guess complications have occurred. And now, at first, they were just showing like pre-recorded shows. Now they're actually recording taped shows, live shows. And now without Wendy. So because, like you said, the fans, not the fans, what do we
Her
call them?
co-hosts.
No.
Her audience members?
Yes, exactly. Because the audience is a big part of her show, they're going to continue wanting to bring people in.
And currently, their issue is getting those people in because they've only been meeting about half their capacity. And because of that, they're actually offering a $75 incentive plus a goodie bag to anybody who will come sit for a show's taping for 3 hours. I don't think people are not coming because Wendy's not there.
I do. I think it's because Wendy is not there that they're not showing up.
Because personally, I love Leah Remini. I would have loved to go watch her host the show. I just personally don't have time. And I think since COVID, people aren't as likely to go out and about and do things like that. I really prefer not to go sit in an audience right now until maybe like the summertime.
Yeah, I do think like that's part of it, but I don't think that's the full thing. Like I feel like the reason Wendy is because of her attitude, because of her dynamic, because of her smart remarks. Like that's what makes the show, right? And not everyone can be Wendy the same way. There's only one Oprah, right?
I mean, and the show is her show.
Yeah, and not saying that the guest hosts aren't doing great. They are doing great, but when I go to something like you're expecting, if I'm going to the Wendy show, I am going to see Wendy. Like that's the experience I want to take out, or I want to leave with, and that's just not what's happening. But $75, you say you wouldn't do it. I say, pay me my $75.
Yes, but now, how much does it cost you just to get there?
Well, that's
exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, there's people.
I mean, if I lived across the street, didn't work, I would absolutely do it.
But there's people that live in New York, like.
But hopefully they work. If they live in New York, they better have a job.
I mean, if you don't have a job, that's also fine.
That's fine, but I don't know how you're doing it. God bless you.
Right. But I was saying that they need to have. No, I'm not even gonna say that. I think if they had people, like they just need to promote it more. Like most people don't even know the fact that the show is being recorded live and they have guest hosts. Yeah. So even though, let's say Wendy gets better by next week, just have some guests booked, promote it, post it, have some promotion going on, and I'm sure people would be open to the idea.
Well, hopefully we'll see this week if their incentive is paying off, because
people will definitely show up for $75. I think so.
I don't think so, but I think we'll find out soon.
That's right.
This week. Let's see how many people show up. If they have a full audience, then I guess you were right.
I mean, I'm not saying a full audience now, but I do think.
I mean, but if they're already at half capacity and then now they're getting paid, I think
it's possible.
It's possible.
Again, like our whole theme of today, only time will tell.
Seriously. We're getting close to the end here, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the Alec Baldwin incident with the prop gun that ended up being fully loaded and actually sadly took the life of Helena Hutchins, which was the cinematographer, and injured the director, Joel Souza. Quickly, I don't think that should have ever happened. Obviously, they don't believe that should have happened either. I think the movie set has been struggling. There's been members of the
members of the
leaving.
Crew. Yeah, members of the crew were already talking about the fact that they were already trying to cut corners, and employees, they weren't fully staffed. They wanted to get, have more security. The security wasn't there, and it's so sad that now people are suffering, but
it is what it is. We have to go now. Thank you for watching the show, and we will talk more about this next time.
Bye.
Bye.